Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is James Ramos from At the Quarter Pole, and here is my spiel on the 2024 Jim Dandy and San Diego Handicap. And we're starting with the East Coast with the Jim Dandy Stakes at a mile and 1/8 at Saratoga Park, and are going to be a field of six. And my pick will be Fierceness. That's a Fierceness he even makes it in the race. He scratched the last two times. He scratched out of the Haskell, and he scratched out of the Belmont, and there is no horse in that field that carries 115 speed bar that he showed at the Florida Derby. This is my pick. He doesn't need the lead. He could stalk and just push away. I don't like Sierra Leone at even money. That was my Kentucky Derby pick. I don't like him in this race. I think that the horse just has that weird until he figures it out and knows not to veer in and veer out in a stretch that is going to cost him every race that he runs. That's just my firm opinion. They're putting back the ring bet into him. They had the ring bet before, then he went to a cage bet for his last race that he came in third in the Belmont Stakes. And there's just too many excuses at even money. I just can't see this taking this horse at this price. Fierceness is not a long shot. He's 9-5 second choice, but take second choice over the odds-on favorite. You could put the mask they used for Hannibal Lecter on Sierra Leone. I don't think it's going to fix its issues. And as I stated before, Fierceness is my Jim Dandy pick. And moving on to the West Coast now, the San Diego Handicap. As many remember, this is a good prep race for the Pacific Classic. It also would lead into a good prep race for the Breeders' Cup Mile or the Breeders' Cup Classic. So my pick in this race would be Arabian Night. You're not going to get anything off Arabian Night. It's just my pick. I'm looking forward to this horse in the Breeders' Cup. As I stated in the last video I did before, the horse to watch out for the Breeders' Cup. And I just think he's class overall, speed overall. And I believe this animal is faster than National Treasure. And I believe he'll pick up the win. Express Train will probably be his second top contender. I don't like Express Train. I think he's long in the tooth, and he's not any class compared to Arabian Night. I know this will be a prep race for Arabian Night since the last one won to Woody Stevens, but I still like Arabian Night. Now, crossing over the pond, the King George IV Stakes. And my pick is going to be August Rodin. I believe he'll win that race. Won't be a price. Rebels Romance, it's completely out to me. August Rodin, as I stated in the last video, I think he's the best European turf horse at the distance at a mile and a half, a mile and a quarter, and he should repeat in the Breeders' Cup Classic turf. That's the Breeders' Cup turf, excuse me. So that's my picks for the Jim Dandy, the San Diego Handicap, and also the King George. Now these preps races leading up into the last week's races, the Haskell won by Dornoch, and it was obviously why he won the race. He ran the first quarter 23 and change, and then he slowed him down to 48-4, and that was end game for me. Mind Frame came out 5 wide, and I just couldn't understand that coming around for home. 5 wide had the lead. Dornoch had plenty left in the tank, and he won convincingly. Will he be better suited staying away from the big races for Breeders' Cup Day? Better suited to mile. Breeders' Cup Classic is a 3-year-old. Don't see it happening, especially with other 3-year-olds with his kind of speed wanting to be in the front end. Older horses wanted to be in the front end. So Dornoch looked quite impressively. He'll have a good 3-year-old campaign. Right now, he is the leading 3-year-old to win the division right now if he stays in form. But that's a big if. There's other horses still ready to show what they're made of. And Dornoch during Breeders' Cup tournament, I think, will be a throw. It's maybe at the mile, but he'll be facing other superior speed horses out from the West Coast, which he needs to get a race on his belt before the Breeders' Cup. Hopefully, it'll bring him over, but I'm not sure of that. Mind Frame, too many excuses. Second time out. Second, he came outside wide, as I pre-mentioned. Around the turn, it looked like he was going to run down Dornoch. He did not. Dornoch had some extra kick, was running that mid half at 48-4. That's what pretty much done Mind Frame, man. Not overly impressed, maybe slightly overrated right now, almost in the same territory as Sierra Leone. Funny joke is they're both just don't seem like they want to move up forward in the 3-0 division. Whereas Mystic Dan, I'm waiting to see Mystic Dan. Hopefully shows up for the Travers Midsummer Derby, which will be a great race. Look at the horse that should be going for the Midsummer Derby, the Travers. You're looking at a horse like Caesar Gray. You're looking at a horse like Mindframe, Sierra Leone, Fierceness, and the list goes on and on. That race looks like it's going to set up at least a good 8 to 9 horse field, which is going to be phenomenal because they're all going to be the top 3-year-old horses in tier at the moment. Other things to mention about right now is that the horses look like they're getting ready. We only have a little over 3.5 months for the Breeders' Cup. I know I'm very early. People say, "Wow, you got 3.5 months," but you only have 3.5 months until we get all the real prep races in. There's a horses that are still on the shelf and have not reappeared. National Treasure hasn't reappeared. Senior Buscador has not appeared. Also, Demisor Gaki, who used Japanese top contender, who kind of looked like went out of form beginning of the year. I'm not sure they're going to bring any of these horses into works right now. Have no idea, but further things will tell later in this summer. I mean, I would say get up and go and pardon the pun, but yeah, it's time to move forward with all the big races coming for the Breeders' Cup. As stated before, though, this is going to be a Del Mar, which of course would lean to the favoritism to the California horses to have the advantage. Problem is, the California horses are not as good as the European, the Japanese, neither the Eastern contingent. They're just not. I mean, they're not in that kind of class, in my opinion. The Eastern horse out in the United States are far more superior. Yes, I did say far more superior because they run better purses, better horses. Everybody has moved out from California because of the detrimental, the closing downs of Bay Meadows, Golden Gate. As we know, Hollywood Park's been closed for a decade. And yeah, all the top trainers and jockeys are now moved out to the East Coast, where Santa Anita suffers from low amount of horses, between 4 and 6 horses in every race, which is not fair to them. Except for the Del Mar meet currently, they're running at least 10, 11 horses, but that's norm for Del Mar, especially at the beginning of the season. You see other racetracks getting better, like Oakland. Their purses are getting bigger. They're getting better fields. There's talk about New York Racing after Belmont opens that they're going to start running on Tapeta, which is a synthetic course, and many horse trainers and horse owners and horse jockeys are not thrilled about that. It takes away the dirt racing, and of course, during that time, winter, you're not going to get a lot of turf racing, but still the dirt racing. There's already been many trainers are looking to move their barns somewhere else. Laurel, believe it or not, Laurel of all tracks, maybe 30 years, 40 years ago was a good spot. But Oakland does make a lot of sense where their meat is going to be superior and better than any track that I've seen. If you're not convinced, just look at the total purses, the horse fields, and the horse men and women are moving out there for better racing. And that is true. That's not a joke. That is not a wild guess. That is what's factually is happening, ladies and gentlemen. And maybe out of if the Oakland does really well, it's going to probably supersede all the super tracks like Del Mar, like Santa Anita, like Del Mar, and Gulfstream Park. That they're just going to feel they could be able to fill top fields with top purses. And that is the savior of horse racing, in my opinion. If you cannibalize everything out there, there's not going to be nothing for the horse people to go, but go somewhere else. Well, sorry to get away from my role on that. That wasn't supposed to be in my video, just something that came from the heart, in my opinion, what's going on. And those were the prep races for the Breeders' Cup. Those were my picks for the Jim Dandy, the King George, and the San Diego Handicap. I hope you like this, ladies and gentlemen. And this is James Ramos from At the Quarter Pole. Well, winning and history run neck and neck. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.